of the Hockey Republic. My name is George Njuguna. Two of us are wearing blue, and it's nothing political. We just want to, talk about, be candid. That's why we want to keep ourselves warm. I hear Kenya is burning because we need to see results. And not election results. We want to ask ourselves question as to why we have what is it? I'm even lacking the words to say. We have performed the way we have performed in the Commonwealth. We have other stories that we'll talk about, and one of them is the Kitale tournament, which we'll get to in a while. But let me first introduce my brother from another mother, Simon. How are you?
Not good at all.
Tuliza boy.
Not good. Not good. I'm not good. I'm trying to keep calm, but yeah. Wacha tuseme tu we are doing okay.
We are doing okay. Okay, yeah. And the other guy who's wearing blue like me is not a stranger to this show, and that is one. I'm calling him Coach 001. Moses Kagochi, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm breathing. I can't complain.
Unasikia hata Kagochi amesema he's okay.
I'm okay.
Hey.
I could be better, but yeah.
Gentlemen, the two of you are coaches, so today I will control this show. And remember, you can get in touch with us on our social media handles. You can comment on this live show, and we'll definitely going to discuss. Our main topic today is about Commonwealth. Let me begin with you, Kagochi, as Simon cools down a bit. In a scale of 1 to 5, rate our performance.
1. I'll just be honest. 1. Okay, that is 1 being the least, 5 being
yes.
I'll say based on the expectations we had, it's 1. Yeah, I'm just trying to be very generous.
Okay, good. Simon, I'll ask you the same question. 1 being the least and 5 being the highest.
You want the honest truth or the sad truth, or you want me to?
Today we are speaking honesty.
I'd give a 2. But
interesting.
That is the sad truth, but the honest truth, it's a 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give reasons why I've given a 2.
Okay.
I've given a 2 because I've given a 2 because it's the first time for a lot of guys in that tournament to experience, number 1, international hockey, and number 2, to play in such an amazing stadium full of fans, and number 3, to play against some of the top sides in the world. I'd rate it a 1 because I had high expectations for that team. They've had a lot of time to train. They've had a lot of resources pumped into them getting ready for that tournament. And I did not see a performance that showed that they really got ready for that tournament. So that's why I've given both. So for me, I think a 1.5, to be fair. Yeah.
Kagochi, on Saturday, I went to see one of my uncles. He's fairly old. Let me say 64, 65 years old. I was so surprised, number 1, that he knows a lot of hockey. Way back from when he was in high school. I was not even born then. So, and he told me something really profound. First of all, he asked me, and Juguna, you love this sport a lot. What happened to the scores I saw yesterday? And he was very clear. He sat and watched the whole game. He told me the results were 16-0. And he asked me, were those rugby results or were they hockey results? And he went ahead and compared us to rugby. And he said rugby looked like they had prepared themselves for that tournament.
Yeah.
Kagochi, the league was stopped, or rather, the Ladies Premier League was stopped, and even the main league, the whole league actually was stopped for what, close to 3 months?
Yep. 3 months.
Yeah. Was this what was happening?
Before I say this, when I believe I'll start by saying this. I always say this that when you're under an elephant, you say these are big ceiling. When you're standing on the side of the elephant, you say these are big wall. When in a tall building, you say these are funny looking mouse. The truth, everybody is saying the truth. It's an elephant based on what you see. With me saying that, I'm a firm believer. Teams play the way they train. There's no way you can train in a certain way, and in a game you play in a specific way. So, without pointing fingers, I just think there's the question I'm asking is what happened. Could it be stage fright? Could it be maybe our expectations were too high? So those are the questions. But for me, I'll like to look at it from a different perspective. If you look at for the last 5 years, so there are certain attributes which were we can see in our teams. Is it positive? Are we growing? So again, it's whatever is happening right now could be it was coming. It was coming, and something we can talk about it for long. So one thing I before this I had mentioned to you, before even look at Kenya, look at the African teams and the Asian teams, vis-a-vis the European teams. There's a very big disconnect, and maybe we can talk about it. For me, I'm from this experience, it can be positive for us because we can actually sit down now critically and say what is happening. You're looking at
But
Ghana,
Kagochi, let me cut you short.
Yeah.
Do you think, let's be honest here, do you think we'll really sit down and have a look at it, or we will just sweep it under the carpet? Remember, these teams did not have a good outing in Ghana. Just remember, and that was not discussed per se. And we went into Birmingham having shelled whatever happened in Ghana, because our men's team did not perform as expected in Ghana. Our ladies team did very well, considering that they got there late. But now, after this tournament, do you think we will really sit down, or the guys involved will sit down and say, hey, look, this happened. The public or the fans deserve an explanation, and we need to find a solution for this. Do you honestly think it will happen?
For me, if we pretend to love the sport, if we claim that our desire is to have the best out of this sport in the country, then I think it's a discussion we should be able to have. It's not comfortable, but it's a discussion we should have. Yeah, Simon. I told you about 4 years ago, I was involved in a project with India, and where we sat with the coaches, and we were educators there for a course there, but they called us and said, guys, we want you to help us to come up with a playing principles for India. And now these playing principles will be taught all across the India, from the provinces, from the districts. And Simon, I think I shared with you. And if you look at India, both male and female, the way they play, you can literally see whatever we discuss is what they're doing, because they went down and they said, okay, guys, we're having a problem. India was a gold medalist long time ago. Yeah, man, guys have what wametuacha. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So for me, we have to have that uncomfortable discussion, and it's very uncomfortable, and we have to involve literally everybody. What you're gonna call the stakeholders, and when we become open, we say, guys, we are struggling with this because the issue is not the players.
Yep.
So the issue could be maybe the environment which we have, the structures which we have. We postponed so many. Remember, we came up with a curriculum, and it was like 2 years ago, Simon, before COVID?
It was 3 years ago.
Yeah, we were
Back in
supposed
2019.
we were supposed to go down and say, guys, what do we need to do to improve? Get people involved, because what is happening right now, we are pointing fingers. And the truth of the matter is, it's a situation where we say, come by and buy, let's have this discussion.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting frustrated. Now look at Ghana. They had that discussion. And we are going to talk about the weaknesses we have, but everything goes to how do we want to play? Number one, do we have the right resources for that? 3, do we have the right environment for these players to give their uttermost? When I say the environment, it talks about the equipment, it talks about the mentality, it talks about the facilitation, because I believe there are other many players out of the whole country. So these are discussions we have to have. Otherwise, we still go round and round in circles. Yeah.
Okay, Simon, let me bring you in. We'll break this down into and Kagochi put it so well. There are positives and negatives to carry. Allow us to put the heart of the okay for a moment. And I am seeing the messages that are coming in. Thank you so much for them. We're going to read them as we go on. But let me start with the positives. What do you think was done right prior to going to Commonwealth? And
the preparations in terms of the timing, the scheduling, I think they were done quite well. They were given ample time to prepare. We had a lot of ladies going into City Park to train, and they had a definite schedule for it. And there was a plan. You could see that they had scheduled time to train. They tried to organize friendlies towards going to the Commonwealth. They went into the camp early. There was there was quite a bit of discipline in the training camps. We didn't hear any issues with the training camp. The players kept themselves safe. We did not hear any player that was denied a ticket to go to Birmingham, or they did not go to Birmingham because they had things like COVID or other ailments and injuries. So it was good that they got into that position as well to go and participate into Birmingham because of their merit in terms of the African Cup of Nations. So I think the other positive is that, yes, we've been stating that we need to see some changes in terms of the coaching staff. At least we had a lady TM and a lady coach going there. So it's also a positive. It's a start. Unfortunately, it's a baptism by fire for Jackie. But for me, I think that's a positive. That's a good thing we can take away from this.
Okay, Kagochi?
Yeah, for me, for the first time, they were in camp for more than a month.
Yeah.
And secondly, I think in matters facilitation, I think it was easier. So that's why initially I said, for me, I had my expectation was a little bit more of a fight and more expression, because they have been together for some time. You know. The other positive is when we used to say before that playing outside there is no joke. It's not about physical fitness. It's also about mental So now Simon has said it. They have got it on the job. It's quite hard, but it can be positive. If people are strong mentally, they will be hungry for more. They'll be hungry to succeed. So they will demand better trainings. They will demand because they have seen and they'll have accepted that we are not there yet. So we need, as players, we need to do our bit. So it's positives from my end for the players. For me, so in the back of my head is that now, what more of the administration, or what more do we need to learn now from this? So it's a discussion we should have. But I'm happy for my goodness, being in the setup for some time. This is the first time they didn't have worries that are we traveling tomorrow or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, or do you have the kits or not?
Yeah.
Actually, you have talked about the kit. Let me just pull in this one. One Duncan Murunga says, some positives for me, they picked the uniform on time and they arrived in Birmingham on time.
and also they got to play a friendly or two before the actual tournament, which is another positive. Njugush, the KHU social media admin has been very active. I hope this is a good start for him to continue being, or for him or her continue being active on social media.
I have things to say there, but anyway, we'll talk about that when we are looking at the game per game analysis. I want us to transit on. I don't want to call them negatives, but it is what it is. So today we are talking about the truth. So we'll talk about the truth, and I want to pick it up from Kagochi and bring you back in because you started a very interesting conversation, and it's something you always talk about whenever you come to this show, the mental strength of the team. And for me, my question is this: are we going to have the same squad of 25? Or this is going to be swept away and then we again start again? And that goes back to the mental strength of the team again. And it boils down to consistency. Is this a time for us to start thinking of having such? Let's not even go to culture, just that alone. As we begin to look at just that, and then we get into the nitty-gritties of the game.
Njugush, what makes a person strong mentally is confidence. What brings in confidence? Proper preparation. What brings in proper preparation? Structured training. And when I say this, it doesn't mean structured in such a way. This is what we are going to do. No. And I've had the privilege of being a facilitator in many courses, and we meet different coaches from all over the world. Let me shock you. The problems we are having, Ireland are having the same problem. There are specific countries who are struggling with this. And it's because we don't build confidence on our players. And so when they get into the field, mentally, they are shaky. So let me give a good example. When a child is learning how to walk, what happens, Simon? They fall down.
They fall a couple of times, yeah.
And so what we do as parents, sometimes we put them in baby walkers, or sometimes we put them in an environment where, I'm repeating that, we put them in an environment where they will be triggered to walk.
Huko ushago wanaekangwa kwa stool.
Yeah. But what happens after some time? After some time, they become confident. And so later they're even able to run. Because they're confident with their ability.
Yeah.
So speaking matters hockey. If we don't, and this is what I said last time, there's a statement I said, na nikaambia Simon, nilisema watu walisema naongea kizungu mingi, nilisema for us to try to think about tactical, to think about the systems we are going to play, while we are not able technically, our basics are not adequate. We have not totally trained on how we pass the ball, receive the ball, and our body posture. No matter how we want to think about how the structures we're going to play, our players will not be confident, because if you give him the pass, is a pass in the right. So if you look at all the games, Jugush, all the European teams, their passing is like it's telepathic. Why? Because they have done it over and over. So for me, my worry is for us to be strong mentally, it goes back to how we are training, the consistency of doing things to improve on where we had a problem, because I think our biggest problem was you are not confident with the ball. Our passes, those small elements which make, so mentally, before even try to bring a mental coach, the players should be able to have trained to a certain level where they are confident with, if Simon gives me the pass, it will be on the ground, it will be on the forehand. So it gives me confidence. So if now, secondly, the other element we don't talk about is training in this game specific scenarios. So if I'm a striker, we will train more on the areas I should play and bring in the pressure. So we also incorporate that. So Jugush, this is what they do in Europe. And now I am able to see the disconnect between the first world and us. If you look at the African teams and the Asian teams, they are struggling with that element. Why? The same element. It means we need to relook at how we are training. And Simon, as we said last time, is a coach in Kakamega coaching the way Simon is coaching in Nairobi.
Yeah, Kagochi. We've discussed this a couple of times, and today we had a phone call over lunchtime, and we discussed this. Njugush, one of the most frustrating things is we know what we need to do, but you're not doing anything about it. How many times have we, even myself as a coach, asked for a national forum where all coaches in the country can be, number one, registered and recognized, and have a database of these coaches, and number two, can have that seminar where we discuss about the national curriculum of how we want to run the sport. As you've heard, Kagochi and I believe Coach Senge have tried to come up with a curriculum, and they've also tried to come up with that national forum for coaches. Unfortunately, it has not materialized to date. But as Kagochi has said, we have coaches who train on different aspects of the game. There are coaches, and I can tell you this is a fact, and we've seen even in the KHU leagues, there are coaches who insist on hitting the ball. Yesterday, I was so frustrated. I was mad beyond the core, to my core, to see players trying to hit the ball to get a circle penetration against South Africa or to clear their lines in defense. So,
or even try to scoop it out.
Yes. So you see, those are things that as a nation, you see, if we had a forum for coaches, we will have discussed that and said, guys, we've been telling players to do this in our training sessions, and it has been working locally, but it is not working in an international stage. In fact, let me tell you, you watched your game with your uncle. I watched my game, the game with a colleague of mine who has played for the US Olympics team, the field hockey US Olympics team. And one of the things he asked me 3 very difficult questions. The first question he asked me is, are we sure we took the best team to participate in that tournament? That's the first question he asked me. The second question, and by team, he meant the best players we have in the country to participate in that tournament. The second question he asked me is this: do we realize that we are playing a high performance level? because some of these things you are doing are what you would expect to see. And these are not my words. It's some of the things we are seeing our ladies do are some of the things that you'd expect people at the development stage to do. And he gave me an example. For example, positional play. At one time, we could count 8 defenders inside our circle, and none of them is marking a single player.
And the commentator actually said it.
And yes. So he said those are the things and of course things like hitting, things like unable to control the ball and stuff. So I tried to come up with reasons like we don't have a good surface, and actually he said no. If you can stop the ball in a very tricky surface, then it is so simple to stop the ball in an AstroTurf. The third question he asked me is this. Now, after this tournament, what do you think will happen to these ladies? Will they be encouraged to continue training for the national team? Because I told him some of those ladies are barely 25. So he asked me, do you think you can be able to retain these ladies after that performance? And if the fans, the Kenyans, are going to have a lot of complaints and backlash towards the team, will they accept that next time they will participate in that team or they will be part of the national team? And when you look at those 3 questions, coupled with what Kagochi is saying, you see that, and as we've kept saying in this show, as we've started this show, are we in a position where we can say, let's have this uncomfortable discussion because we need to sort out the mess we are in at the moment? Yeah. So, and I've said, as you've seen in the league, there are coaches who shout, hit the ball. Why? Because they want to get a deflection and score the goal. Jugush, I saw that we conceded, I think I stopped counting, but I think around 18 goals from baseline play. 18 goals from baseline play. A player goes the ball with the baseline, passes across the goal, it's a score. Our players don't know how to defend that. But if they have a ball coming straight from the 23-yard area, they were able to defend. So that tells you, as a nation, we are used to having balls hit or injected straight from the 23. But once now we introduce this dynamic of baseline play, we were unable to cope that. Number 2, we were unable to handle penalty corners. In fact, if you are keen on that South African game, they realized the only way for them to get a good goal-scoring chance is to create penalty corners.
All the teams, they knew that's how.
That lady, what's her name? She scored 5 PCs with the same slap shot. And the sad part is, and I ask myself this, and I don't want anyone to take this with a pinch of salt. And nitarudia tena, don't take this with a pinch of salt. But what are our competency levels as a coaching staff or coaching fraternity in Kenya? How competent are we as coaches in the country to be able to match those coaches at the international level? Because if a player can score 5 goals with the same method, same routine, and we don't know how to handle or counter that, if we are unable to pass the ball from our own 23-yard area or 16-yard start, we are unable to get that ball out, how competent are we? The other question in terms of competence, I believe we took the best coaches to Birmingham. The best coaches in the country, we took them to Birmingham. If I was given that role, would I be any more competent than the ones that have been taken to Birmingham? And in case anything happens and there is a transition, do we have any competent coaches and technical staff to take out to such an international level and say, we are confident that these coaches will prepare our players well to participate at that level? So we might blame the players, we might blame the coaches, but also you have to question, what is our competence as a nation to be able to match to those top hockey nations?
Let me read a few messages and then we get to the nitty-gritties of the game, gentlemen, as we talk about what we need to improve on. Let me begin with this. A guy who rarely posts Anything about hockey, especially on this platform and or elsewhere. But I've seen him yesterday and today do this. And this is John Waraga who says, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, but we love money more than the game. Unfortunately, we might have milked the cow to its deathbed. And he continues to say something here. Let me just get it. He says that I believe even playing surface is part of training. It's something that you have said the opposite of that, or rather, as a component of the playing team. And I asked the question, why? How would you rate the performance of the ladies so far in Commonwealth?
Before you go to Jugush, before you go to the ratings, Kagochi is here. He's a coach. He has trained in Europe. He has trained in Asia, and he has trained in West Africa and South Africa. Kagochi, how many times do you introduce obstacle courses in an AstroTurf to simulate a bouncing ball, a lifted pass? How many times do you set up such a course? And are those not the similar conditions we face on our current AstroTurf, Maram pitches and grass pitches?
Simon, there's something I said before. I mentioned that our training should replicate whatever we expect in a game. So what do you expect in a game? Bouncing pass. What do you expect in a game? So what they do a lot in Europe, and actually the best, if I say the best practices of training a high performance team, is to create scenarios where players have to look for solutions. Now, how we coach in Kenya, and I was a victim of this before, is that we as the coaches, try to solve the problems for the players. Yet, they're the ones who are in the field. So, just going back to your question strictly, I feel, and I'll repeat this, maybe we need to relook on how we train our teams. We need to relook. There's one statement I'm going to say, Simon. So, are our teams high-performing teams or high-performance teams? What do I mean? A high-performing team is when everybody's in a good mood, the spirit is good in the team, and this tournament imetukubali tu. And we play well. But a high-performance team is that they are consistently looking and relooking at how they can improve. Meaning, nikitoa Simon weke Njuguna hapo, because he's a high-performance player, atadeliver. I don't know if I make it a bit clear. So, if you look at all the teams which are playing, I saw South Africa men. The reason they have really improved so much is because, Simon, they played in the Pro League. And the last two games in Belgium, I was there. And the coaches are great friends. And we were discussing, and they were asking, Moses, what do you think is our problem? Two things. We need to address our problem without looking at the other teams first. Our problem is that we are not confident with the ball. We are not confident in small spaces. Like if you watch Canada play today, Canada was so good in small spaces. Yes, they lost to India, but those girls, why? Because it means they train the specific issues in their training. So now, Simon, when you are coaching, and remember I used to ask you this question, how many times do you have small-sided games with desired outcomes? So the desired outcome is that I want us not to hit the ball. I want us to play the ball in triangles. So are we, because in a game, when you play a team which is pressing you high, this is what is happening. And that's why I said initially, my problem is that the environment we train does not really reflect how the games will be.
Let me read something here I posted on Twitter today. It was one of my responses. We have a thread about the tournament on Twitter. I said, people adopt a culture already in place. If you get a job in a serious organization which does not tolerate bullshit, then you'll have to step up. If you find a lazy workforce, you'll most likely conform. What culture have we set up in our sport? Is it conducive to enable and enhance the talents? So when a player comes into training, and I'll give examples. When a player, let's say, goes to a team like, let's use Team Saimo, they find that players come in at, the training is supposed to start at 4:30, players come in at 5:30, they start hitting ball, kuchengana pale. They train about, let's say, stopping passing, play a short game, and then they do their fitness from 6:30 to 7, then they go home. When Njugush, if a player comes to that team, do you think that they will have to conform to what that team is doing, or they will change what that team is doing? Take a player from that team that is used to training from 5:30 to 7, just playing a mawendogo, doing physical fitness, going home. Take them, let's say, to Kagochi's team. Kagochi has seen this is a talent, amempeleka Europe. They find that, let's say, they have a 2-hour training session and a 1-hour gym session. What do you think that player will do? Will they come in late, expect kucheza mawendogo, train physical fitness for 40 minutes and go home, or will they have to conform to what Kagochi's team is doing?
They'll have to conform to what Kagochi is doing.
So when you look at how our teams are playing in terms of the national team, it is a true reflection of how our clubs are. And that is what Kagochi is trying to bring up. The fact that you see a player hit the ball when they are under pressure, or those pressure points, just know it's a true reflection of how we train our players in clubs. Because that's where 90% of their playing time is spent. Okay? Look at even I'll give you an example. For those guys who've watched hockey in national schools, that is public schools, and they've watched hockey being played by international schools, the likes of Green States, Hillcrests, Peponi, there is a huge difference in how those teams play. Why? Because for the international schools, they take the sport as a curriculum, as a subject. So they are taught key basics. They are taught how to hold a stick, how to stop the ball. And that's why you find us, we get shocked when we see a player from the international school come and play the league, and then we say that player is good. But they are doing the basic stuff. If you look at how we got beat, there was no extraordinary skill. I think other than 1 or 2 goals where we had a brilliant player go and score, all the goals we considered were very simple plays. Stop, pass, get into positions. Yeah, and a goal. Very, very simple. But when you see our players, how they get, and I saw this a couple of times yesterday, when they get the ball, they want to run 20, 30, 40 yards with the ball and then give a pass. Is that not a true reflection of how we play our club hockey? So, as Kagochi has said, we need to give these players an environment where we tell them, I understand you're a good ball handler, but this is what I want to do with you. This is how I want to grow your skill. But even Kagochi, before we do that, Kagochi and Njugush, before I can tell a player that, and I'll go back to my question, how competent am I as a coach to be able to assist this player to do what is necessary for the game and to be able to match up to these powerful nations?
Let's break it down game per game. I don't know, Saimo, if you have the statistics ready, or do you want me to just...
No, I don't have them.
Okay, then let's go game per game. And let's begin with the first game where
Kagochi usichoke. Kagochi usichoke. I know it's frustrating. Let's
talk
just push
about
on.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have some 20 minutes to go. As that one pulls up, let me begin with the South Africa game, which ended 15-0 and 50-50 ball possession. I know the three of us watched this game, and so we can give analysis of what went wrong and what we need to improve on. But what was interesting, and it brought a lot of reactions when the social media manager for KHU posted this possession and other things. The second thing that was left out was the attack on circle penetration, and it was 92 for South Africa and 8 for Kenya as coaches. Kagochi, 50-50. Someone might think, hey, hii games ikalitamba, mbona bao zilifika 16?
Jugush, when the ball goes outside the sideline and the players take that and they move around the ball there, that is ball possession.
It is count as ball. Actually, possession of the ball is counted whenever a player touches that ball.
The ball. Now the question is where they touch the ball.
Touch the ball, yes.
And statistics don't lie. And that's why Njugushi tusingia mambo ya statistics. Utapata depression ya bure. Because for me what really came out strongly, and ladies and gentlemen, we have to accept it. We are really struggling with the basic skills, the technical part. Njugush, for the forward to get the ball, lazima your ball ikuwe move from one player to the other in a structured way. So for example, somebody is saying they cannot string 3 or 4 passes. Why? No, Saimo, there's a question I always ask. Who determines the pass? The one who's receiving the ball.
Yes. Yeah. The player.
How do we play in Kenya mostly? Do we have off the ball play? No. Why? Nipatie ball kwa stick. So I'll just, Njugush, I want just to mention this, if you agree.
Okay.
The challenge we have to have proper, Simon talked about culture. What are our team cultures? Because mimi nisomea Jamu ilikuwa yapenda wembe. There were one reason for playing for Jamhuri High School, you could handle the ball. People of Kamusinga, they are good ball handlers. People from maybe different schools have different attributes, which means that is the culture that they find in the school. Now, looking at this, Jugush, what's our team's cultures? That's why you find we are struggling, because our players don't create, in coaching they don't lead. So which means the person who is the one who is starting the ball from the 16 has only 2 options: right back ama kucheza nyuma. Our midfielders are not. So when I say that, it's because that's our culture, and that's when I was talking about we need to relook at how we are playing, because the reason why we struggle that way, because normally if it was in Kenyan setup, I'm in African set. When I say African setup, when you're playing apart from South Africa and Egypt, ukirarua mpira itafika, bora ifike. We don't look at how the process of getting the ball there and what it entails. So for me, statistics to me is just like when you talk about the rankings. Yeah, the ranking of the team doesn't mean anything. What really means a lot to me is, are we training our teams the way we want to play? And lastly, have we identified the way to play which suits us?
Yeah.
So Juguna,
good question.
Look at Australia. I saw Australia played. You know what I said? The men, they will kill everybody. Why? They have telepathic understanding. And when I was in Belgium, I met Rick Charlesworth. He told me that after warming up, everything they do in the game-specific tempo and game-specific positions. So attackers and defenders, they play in the areas where there is action. Where is that area? On the baseline and in the center of the circle. So the attackers have to develop certain skills to beat the defenders in the same specific area. So midfielders do. So what I'm trying to say, they train the game-specific elements, and that's what I say in Juguna. we play the way we train.
Okay.
And so
Go on,
that's why
go on.
that's why I'm getting frustrated, because this is something we've been talking about. Simon, remember when we go to KU, the first thing we do, the group which boycotted to play for us. Why?
Yeah.
Because tulisema hakuna kugwara.
Hakuna kuchapa.
Well, because if we cannot receive the ball and pass and look up, tunagwara nini? We are lying to ourselves. Until we start bringing up a culture training.
And look at KU and look at KU right now. KU are playing very well. If you look at the ladies teams, the men's team, they are playing good hockey. And it took us time to weed it out from the players. It also took us time to get rid of those players that don't want to play to that culture. And yeah.
So Simon, in short, what did we do? We recreated a culture. So that when the players who are coming as freshers, they find, hey, hapa atuchapi mpira. So do we have a culture, a certain way that we want to play? And then based on that, we are able we keep our players to perform based on that. So Simon, what we talk of in coaching, again, Simon, this is why what are some anaongea kizungu mingi. This is what the Europeans are doing. They have certain principles. So number one, first principle of an European team, forehand to forehand pass. Second principle, before you pass, you have to have eye connection.
Eye contact, yeah.
Third and most important, if you want the ball on the left, you have to lead on the right so that you create space for yourself. Now, if you look at those basic principles, all the European teams are playing that way. So it makes it very hard for us to play them. No, Simon, lastly, before, because it looks like I love the sound of my voice. Lastly, and most important.
Leo itabidi tume-extend. Leo Njugusha hizi tupimia masaa leo.
When we train our players to play man-to-man. Why? Because in the circle, we were struggling to play man-to-man, and we know it's a principle. Inside the circle, we play man-to-man. And this is a problem I saw not only with Kenya. Let me just confess, I saw the problem with Ghana. Ghana have lost to Canada because of the same thing. I saw the same problem with Wales. So it means it's not only a Kenyan problem. So again, the teams which are playing very well, it's because they have come up with a culture, which means everybody has to understand this is the way you're going to play. And we've been talking about this over and over again. But the challenge we have is that people don't want to accept that it's not working now. It's been proven it's not working. So we need to come up with a way which we train our players. That's why I'm getting frustrated.
Okay, gentlemen. Shikilia kwanza kidogo. Ngoja, shikilia kidogo. Hold that thought.
Okay.
Let me read a few messages here, because we have the third host who is those ones who are watching. And thank you so much for your messages. They keep coming and streaming in. So, Walicho Sitawa says, boss wangu Kagochi, umekasirika sana. And then Doreen, who is supposed to be here, but anyway, we understand. Anasema, the culture of Kenyan hockey is over dribbling and writing your signature, and your crowd ikutambue hadi waseme we.
Na pia apate photo for the Instagram.
Picha Instagram. Taiso ampatie ka picha hapo. And then Osiche Victor says, why can't the union make the environment better for environment better for the best players in the country to join?
You remember what I keep saying, Jugush? Every person from KHU to the county level to the club, they need to be enablers. Become an enabler so that environment, that culture can change.
Yeah, that's true. Keep them coming. We will read them as we go on. And Simon, I stopped you. You wanted to say something.
Oh yeah. No, you know, as Kagochi is frustrated, I'm also frustrated. Reason being, the sad part is everyone expected bad results in this tournament.
I told you last week, mi hata nilieka 20 goals. Nimeona umepiga hesabu imefika 50.
let me give you the joke I was telling guys. And once again, if you take this with a pinch of salt, you are not ready for dark humor. It's dark humor. So the joke mbaya, if you're not ready, mute. You know, I said tununue bags kubwa, tunaenda tunaziweka pale nyuma ya goal post yetu. Bao ikiingia tunachukua hiyo ball tunaweka kwa bag. Bao ingine ikiingia tunachukua hiyo ball tunaweka kwa bag. Tunaambia table rusha ball ingine kwa uwanja. And then warudi na hizo mipira, we donate to those clubs that don't have balls. Playing ball. So you know, I was saying that joke and I was thinking that I'm just saying it as a joke. Kumbe ni ukweli.
Size ingekuwa
50 goals and we have 47 registered clubs. Inamaanisha kila club ingepata ball moja.
Alafu hiyo ingine ipewe development.
Yes. You see, I don't know how we are going to get into that environment where we say to combine. You know, there is a situation where in life unafikanga unasema to combine, and we are at our lowest. And remember what I said in our last podcast, Njugush, this is a make or break event for Kenyan hockey. It can make us or it can break us. Everyone right now, I can tell you for a fact, those guys who are commenting, those who are watching, and those probably who will watch later, there is no one who's absolutely glad or happy with the results. Everyone was clenching and hoping that we don't get poor results in this tournament. Everyone knew that we would struggle, but how much we would, it was not evident. So now, as Kagochi said, are we ready to have that uncomfortable discussion and admit and say, we are not to that level where we can compete internationally, but we need to have plans that can enable us to compete internationally. And it starts straight from the top. We need a clear plan.
Simon,
like the next Kagochi, in the next like a question, do we have coaches lined up for the next 10 years? Do we have players lined up for the next 10, 15 years? Are our coaches aware that this is how we want the national team to play from now on? Continue, Kagochi.
Simon, the sport has been very good to me. That's why I get annoyed. Hockey got me out of crime. Put food on my table. And I would love it to be the same thing for other people. Now, the reason why people ask, you see in Netherlands or in India, what happens? A national team coach in Netherlands goes to each and every club, and they have a discussion. This is the way we want to play. So we would like our players to look at this. So this is our strength. These are weakness. So we need to work on that. There's in some of our workshops, this is what we say. Culture has strategy for breakfast. Anytime. What does it mean? The culture that you have, Simon, even if you have a better strategy, the culture will always overrule the strategy you have.
Yeah.
So what cultures do we have? Look at India. What cultures have they accepted? They are good ball handlers. Are you seeing them dribbling carelessly? No. Why? Because they said this is the way we want to play. Why? The most important thing, this is the way we want to play. Why? Because this is 1, 2, 3. So the players in their mind know the reason why. And that's why I'm saying, Simon, we need to come to a situation where the players are the most important part of this, because they are the ones who play. So we should give them the proper tool, the right toolkits, so that they can make the right decisions. Now, Simon, this is the saddest truth. Why is it so hard to say that we don't know how to do it?
You see, Kagochi, sorry, I've seen a message that has distracted me here. one of the reasons why we are where we are at the moment is because we keep sweeping things under the carpet. Instead of tackling them, instead of tackling issues, we always find ways to sweep them under the carpet. And we don't find a forum where we can sit together as a hockey fraternity and sort our muddy issues out. We always find ways to point a finger to each other. We always find ways to find fault in someone else, and no one wants to take the fault. No one wants to admit that they are wrong. We all want to look like angels. We all want to look like we are doing the right thing for the sport, but in actual sense, we are damaging this sport. Jugush, how many times tukiwa na wewe tumeambiwa we are doing a disservice to the sport? How many times?
Many times.
Many times. And you see, we are people who love this sport. When you see, let me tell you, there are sports that don't get such audience. In fact, in those Commonwealth Games or on the Oregon World Championships, kuna watu walienda kuparticipate. They are not even getting people discussing about their performance on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. You remember that Kenyan lady who won the Wimbledon?
Mm-hmm.
You remember the doubles?
Yeah, the doubles. Yes.
What if she did not win? Who would have given her that attention?
Who would have even known? Who would have even known a Kenyan participated in the Wimbledon?
Yes. So I usually tell people, whenever you see people having that passion, having that pain for this sport, don't put it down. Don't put it down, and don't try to shy away, and don't try to put things under the carpet. Just say, come on, guys, we can do better. I know we've done wrong. We can do better. That's the first point. The first point is to admit that there is a problem and we need to sort out that problem. The second thing we need to do, yes.
Go on, Kagochi.
What was about tufungue roho? One thing I learned painfully is how to take negative criticism positively. Because if Saimo, I don't really care about you, nitaacha ungue.
Yeah.
But if I really care for you, ndakambia Saimo, by the way, unafanya ujinga. When somebody tells you that, you should be able, like when I talked about the elephant, you should be able to go and look things from their perspective. So I feel that we if we are wise enough, as Simon said, we can use this to totally accept my friend. Hatuko poa.
Yeah.
We cannot. Yes, the facilities are not okay, but other countries are also struggling the same.
Are we making lemonade out of lemon?
Jukush, let me ask you this question. Before Nairobi Sikh Union installed the AstroTurf, how many AstroTurf pitches did we have in Kenya? Toa City Park, na Toa Simba. Do you know how many AstroTurf pitches we have, especially in Nairobi?
I can count 2 off my head, and they are all in private schools.
Okay. The other thing, are we ready to pull down our egos on both sides and say we need to have a partnership for this sport? For example, can I approach, let's say, University of Nairobi, who can do it, and tell them, we want to work with you to install an AstroTurf on your grounds, and we guarantee you that whenever we go and bid for, let's say, an African Cup of Nations, we will host it in your university. Do you know how much that will market a university? By just approaching them and telling them, let's partner and have an AstroTurf on your pitch. I don't know how much logistics is involved, but I know it can be done. And tell them, we have a plan that in the next 10, 15, 20 years that we want to even host the Hockey World Cup. So you partner
like the
with
University of
universities.
Birmingham.
Yes, you tell them, we will work with you. We will also try to work with the government and install these pitches so that in case we have or we bid for the African Cup of Nations, we can host such tournaments. And we can even call for the FIH Pro League for countries to fly into Kenya. Probably it's cheaper and easier for them to fly into Kenya and play in our country. That's also part of partnership. If you are not ready to partner with guys who can actually do it and want to work alone in our own silos, this sport will never grow. And Jugush, we've noticed this even ourselves as a media. We Hockey Kenya unataka work peke yako, uonekane wewe ndio una promote hockey. Sisi Hockey Kenya tunataka tukae Hockey Kenya tunataka tukae sisi tuko peke yetu, sisi ndio tunataka promote hockey. And we've seen it a lot. How many times, Jugush, have you seen our content be taken and posted in the papers? And someone says, hii ni yangu. You see, we don't want to work together. Like coaches don't want to sit together and discuss. Sometimes, Kagochi, and you've seen this, you try to sit down a coach and correct them about their team's gameplay. They are so defensive. They feel like yeye tu ndio anajua na hakuna kitu ingine unaweza mshu. Even the players. We come here, Jugush, we do our analysis on the podcast. A player meets you at City Park and says, you are too harsh on me. You don't understand. The other day, I had a player telling me in the last, you remember the last AFCON we covered. A player came to me and told me, we unaongea nonsense na hata hujawahi chezea national team. So how do you expect that player to go to Birmingham, for example, and play good hockey? Kama hauwezi mcorrect. You see, so we need to get, it's, I don't know how I can frame this, but tuache hii tabia tuko nayo ya you don't want to be corrected, you feel that you are the one who knows best and you don't want to sit down and discuss about these issues. It's
going to collaborations, let me shock you. Do you know how many national stadiums Netherlands have? Can I shock you? They only have 2 or 3. The rest of the stadiums are owned by clubs which the local municipality funds. So, Jugush, where is this tournament being played? University of Birmingham. Why? Birmingham have partnered with them. So you find that maybe in the funding of this, maybe because maybe Birmingham doesn't have land.
Yeah.
They will say,
actually,
let's have
they
these.
don't.
They don't have.
Yeah, they don't have.
So, South Africa, do you know how many stadiums they have, national stadiums? 3 or 4. When I say national, the one which is attached, this is the Ministry of Sports, KHU, or no. The rest is owned by university. Where did they play the World Cup? University of Northwest, Potchefstroom.
Yeah.
It's a private entity. Now, this is what I said, and I'll go back to the politics. Nairobi 20 years ago was a sports tourism city. All the major teams for hockey used to come and train in Nairobi. Why? It's in the equator. It's 1,600 meters above the sea level. Why can...
let me cut you short. Let me cut you short, Nadi Kagochi. We were with you at KU 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
They built a facility there because of the junior athletics. You remember?
Yes.
It can be done. Yeah, it can be done. Actually, a whole facility in Jugush, a whole athletics facility was constructed at KU because there was a youth athletics event that was being played in Kasarani.
Yeah.
And that's what gave birth to the other World Championships.
Exactly.
And so Simon, where were they staying? The Nyaya hostels were made 3-star to 4-star around that level. So that's what I'm saying. But again, Simon, it's our Kenyan culture. We compete, we don't compliment.
Yeah.
And this is what I was saying. So it goes also to our teams. So Simon, if you look at this, a good example. If you're my assistant coach, as a head coach, I'm just giving an example of how culture has rubbed in. If I don't give you roles and responsibilities, how will you succeed?
Nothing.
Can I see everything? No. So again, the same mentality goes to Staki Saimo succeed kama coach. Why? Because inaonekana mimi sikufanya kazi. Are you getting it? So this is a Kenyan culture. It's a very bad. The competition can be healthy if it's positive. It's like Simon, what I say. I love having positive conflicts. I want to fight with you because of the success of the sport.
Yeah.
It's positive. But now, sadly, let me ask a simple question. Simon, do you think we can invite a team from Europe to come and have a training camp in Nairobi?
No.
Where we do this, they train as Nairobi County government. We talk to Nairobi to Nairobi National Park. They get a good deal. So part of their training is for them to visit there.
Yeah.
Are you getting it? That is complementing.
Yes.
So now, as we talk right now, the sports infrastructure, the sports Kenya, and all those guys, there is no complementing. And this is something we had a discussion with Doreen earlier. Why? Because from the structure of our sports is the National Olympic Committee, okay, Ministry of Sports, National Olympic Committee, I don't know, Sports Council, then the national federations. These guys are not communicating the same. No, who is suffering? The players.
The players.
Yes, the players.
So no, look. Let me just be honest, Jigush, Mbaya. We appointed very good coaches. We have Barbara, we have Jackie Mwangi. Question is, as a hockey fraternity, as a national body, did we mentor them to those roles? Let's be honest. Did we? So now we throw them into the fire. They have to learn on the job. And now what happens? Then now the expectation is put so high. That's why I'm saying we can talk all you want to talk, but the environment is not conducive for us to succeed. Best practices, Simon.
Yeah.
In Netherlands, where I'm working, as a head trainer, it's a must. I work with a junior trainer. It's every week I have hours to work with them. Not coaching course, mentorship. Now from that, guess what? The next game, if I'm not there, I say, hey guys, you know what you train? You do it. So continuously with this young coach, because of innovation, because of everything, he might end up being a better coach than me because he has better resources to maybe do research. But I have done my job. So this is the question. Are we taking our coaches to coaching courses, or are we mentoring them for the job? That's a question we should ask. Simon, secondly, now this is talking about the culture. Now we are blaming. Don't blame these players because it's our mistake. We didn't give them the best environment to succeed.
It's like once. Let me tell you one thing I told my former boss. One day I got very angry with my former boss. I told him, "You are giving me a tractor and expecting me to compete in the Formula One race. So, however much of a good driver I am, I'm only limited by the tools you are giving me."
To 50 kilometers per hour.
So
maximum speed ya tractor huwa ngapi?
Yeah, well, I think 80 kilometers or 60 or something. Wakulima wenye wako kwa comments watuambie. So however much skillful I am, however competent I may be, if you don't give me the right tools, I cannot deliver. If you don't give me the right environment, I won't deliver. And that's the thing.
Jugush, I can say, so the other thing, let me just say the other thing also. And this is to all the hockey,
Simon Nyamaza.
The whole hockey fraternity. When the team doesn't perform, I like this. When people get annoyed, it's a sign that they are still passionate. Now the question is, what are you doing? Yeah, in the position you are, in what you're doing. I know there are some great guys. I know they are not coaches, but they fund the players. Okay, I know the guys who maybe they were great players. Kuna mwingine aliniambia ukweli, Kagochi, sitakudanganya. He was a very good player. Aliniambia mimi coach, sina your patience. But I can help. You're getting it. So, so the question is this: until we own all these problems, the failure of this team is not KHU, it's all of us, because you cannot see a child going to drown. No, maenda kabisa drown.
Yeah.
We can have all the excuses, they don't listen, but what have we done? Because if we don't make any change right now, Jugush, Saimo, guess what? When is the last time we won a medal?
Kitambo sana.
So
I
again,
even remember.
so now Saimo, these are okay. Let me tell you the saddest truth. If I want to try and link players from Kenya to Europe, we are struggling. Why? Because of our ranking. So, for example, if a player is supposed to go and play in Netherlands, maybe to play in the second division, they have to get a lot of letters to show that they have played. To prove that they have played, number one, in the university team, number two, for the national team. And now these guys, now with the modern technology, say, if you said you play for the national team, I just have to go to a FIGE website and type your name.
Yeah.
The list comes. You have played, if you say you have 50 caps and you have played 10 caps, they will see it there. Because everything, are you getting it? So
Alafu referee anaeka wewe. Wewe ndio ulikuwa coach.
So what I'm trying to say is that I feel, Saimo, this is a conversation we should have and say, guys, okay, tumengangana, tumeshindwa. What do we do?
Yeah.
The moment you
as
involve,
I said,
the moment you involve people, Saimo, and that's what I believe also the way I coach. People say I talk a lot, but I want to involve the players so that they become part of the solution. But now, the moment you say tunafanya hivi sawa, pana, why do you think we need to do this? Okay, so what do you need to do as Njuguna? So everybody owns the whole process. So they will die for that process. So my worry is this, Njugush, it cannot be normal that tumeenda watu wamepata ma tracksuit, tumeenda Birmingham, nimepata hizo caps. Yeah? But are we, remember what I asked, Saimo, are we high performers or are we high performing?
Two things I want to say.
Yeah.
Two things I want to say. I want to read something here. I won't say which federation it is, but I want to read it here. Club registration steps. Club needs to register their affiliation, through the website. Number 2, this should be done by a president of the club and only needs to be done once per season. So the details required for the registration of the club to play in that league per season is number 1, the president, the secretary, the treasurer. And they need to give their names, their email addresses, and mobile number. The teams will not be registered until this has been done and approved by that national federation. Number 3, the federation will provide competitions to that club only if they are registered by a certain date. So in this year, they said by 5 p.m. February 27, 2022. The team registration require a team manager, and they must provide their mobile number and email. The federation, I won't mention the name, will only communicate to the team manager in regards to the competition details. The team manager or the club coordinator registers their squad for that team. You see, this is already in that national federation's website. It is clear the path they need to take for their season. So before that club is registered to play in the league, not to be recognized as a club. I want us to distinguish that. Not to be registered as a club, to be recognized as a club, to be registered as a club to participate in their competitions for that season. And there are a couple of competitions they've stated in their website. They have to give their executive committee of that club. So when you see that federation do that, it is clear. They clearly define this is how we want clubs to run their things. Okay? It is not an ad hoc system, and we've been calling this for a very long time. So And you've seen, okay, I'll share the site with you in Jugush. They are clear that you cannot participate in their league with that. That's point number one. Point number two.
Without that.
Yeah, without that. Point number two. I believe half of the KHU executive committee went to Birmingham based on that list we saw. Because you have the president and the 2 VCs go to that event. My challenge to them is this. You are there, you have a position, you have a role to play for the country. Please come up with relationships that can help our sport. Talk to the other national federations. Talk to those coaches there. Talk to the club representatives there. Tell them that we would like to partner with you so that we can improve our sport. To partner in what way? It's not necessary that they give us donations, the hockey stick, Navia to know. Just tell them, can we compare notes? Can we be sharing notes? Like you saw Ghana partnered with England hockey. Sindio Kagochi?
Yep.
Yeah, Ghana partnered with England hockey. So, and the partnership is, can we keep sharing notes, exchanging coaches and players so that they can bring the experience to our country? So, for example, they have 2 or 3 coaches from different clubs come into their country, train the national team or the different coaches. And we can also have some of our coaches go to their country, let's say for a 2-3 week trip, observe how they are running their clubs, how they are conducting their trainings, and then they bring back that knowledge to us. And that sort of relationship can only be done, for example, at a national level. So that's my challenge to them. Can we start having those relationships? My third point, Jugush, and that's why I brought the first point about registration. We need to have a look at how we are handling issues and say, it's not working, let's rip up this script. Can we start looking at, as Kagochi keeps saying, working examples? Things that are actually working for other people and tailor them to our needs. It will be tough to start with. It will be very difficult. Not everyone will conform. But with time, we will see results. And as we do that, can we have a clear plan laid by the national federations, by the counties, that in the next 5 years, this is what we want to see. In the next 10 years, this is what we want to see. In the next 20 years, this is what we want to see. For example, if we want to participate in the Olympics or in the World Cup in 20 years, what is the plan we are taking? And even if you go to Ghana hockey, if you go to India hockey, to Netherlands hockey, Australia hockey, you can go to their site and see that they have those documents outlining that this is our strategy, and they are actually putting them there so that they are questioned by people and they invite feedback. So for me, I think this is a point where we just rip the whole script. We say whatever we've been doing is not working. Can we come up with another strategy that works?
Okay, good. We seem to be landing this plane. So Kagochi, hii script tumeitupa, sasa tufanye nini? Tuanzie wapi? Najua tumeongelea mambo mingi hapa, but where do we start from?
Actually, the first thing, and I love this, is first to accept. Ukikuwa mgonjwa uende kwa hospitali kusema boss niko aje? Hapana, unasema boss, leo nasikia mgongo. So now that's one. 2, once we accept, we have to look at the best practices. Yeah, because look at India, they struggle for so long, and same look at Pakistan, they are coming back.
Yeah.
And do you know the reason why? They have identified boss. Ile hockey tulikuwa cheza 10-50 years ago iliisha. Hockey may change, is dynamic, there's a lot of strength. Boss, uliangalia wachezaji wa New Zealand, my friend. Yeah, so what is it? It means hockey, apart from just being dribbling,
tukua tunafanya tu hii kitu.
Yeah. So meaning that we have to agree these are the best practices. And then what I've seen with the guys who are doing very well, they have identified their strengths and their weaknesses. And so they work towards that. I was really impressed with South Africa. They stopped playing European hockey. They are playing with their own flair. But there are certain things they agree. So for me, it's just to agree that it hasn't worked this way. But the most important thing for me is to include everybody. Let people vent out. Then include them. What do you think we can do? Okay, so what are you bringing in the table?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And how can you help us achieve
become better.
that thing? Yeah.
Yes. So the issue right now, and I think again, Simon, it's also how we are politically. President has it all. Yeah. So question is this: can we have a more inclusive decision-making process?
Yeah.
So why? If we get it right there, guess what? Unconsciously, even the coaches, it rubs in. Then unconsciously, even the players realize we have to do this. So we cannot hide from this right now. Guess what? It's there in the open.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, guys, rugby did it. Isn't there, Simon? Walisema boss, mbaya. We need to change our structure. Yeah. We need to have a CEO. Now, this is one thing I see. The moment you have somebody who is employed like a CEO of the federation, guess what? His job is to daily run. So this is a challenge we are having because most of our officials are voluntary. And so nitaenda kuangalia unga yangu kwanza ama tashughulikia hii kitu. But the moment you have at least one person who's doing that, it makes it easier. So I think there's something, I think it's Doreen who said once, he said that the moment we start running this sport like a business, we'll invest in it because we are going to harvest
returns. Yeah,
we are going to have returns. Yeah. So in short, Njugush, we can't hide. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to fail. Sasa hivi nakumbuka nikikoach Daystars kwa nilikuwa napigwa 21-0.
Yes.
18-0. But what happened? Look at the team right now. Because there's a culture which came in there. It was okay to lose, but it's not okay not to build upon that. So for me, we need to involve everybody. It's okay if you're not doing well. There's somebody else who can do it better, but let's complement each other. And lastly, boss, Simon, let's just call it a spade a spade. We have to put our ego aside. Egos that was a idea because everybody knows hatuko sawa. So now we might as well say, okay, guys, let's start afresh. Let's build up from what we have and involve everybody. So I think we can talk about the union, we can talk about, but the truth of the matter, this is a cultural problem for us as Kenyans also.
Yes. I completely agree.
That. Yeah, so if you want to change, we need to go down and do the right way. But I'm happy because of one thing, Simon. I love these are the conversations we should have. They're uncomfortable. As long as they are objective, we get somewhere. Yeah, so that's what I'll
Let me read messages. Alafu tukafunge. To get closing remarks, tukafunge. Duncan Murunga says our neighboring country used to have a president called Idi Amin. This is a man who had a know-it-all attitude and eventually costed the country economically until today. Good thing is his era came to an end. I believe ameweka alama za dukuduku hapo na kujua Duncan vizuri sana.
Yeah, Doreen, interesting.
Gani hiyo?
Collaboration is the new currency.
Yeah.
Collaboration is the new currency. I mentioned it in my recent post. Yeah, Njugush, I was having a discussion with one of the social media managers of a football club in England. What's the name? Stockport FC. I just found him on LinkedIn. I think he's a former social media manager or something. So I just started having a discussion about how they handle their social media, how they handle their marketing as a club. And Stockport is not as a big Premier League club as we know the other ones. And one thing he told me is that he used to actually walk into businesses and ask them to collaborate with the club. And that's what almost all clubs there do. They tap into their community. So for example, like let's say my club Park Road. It taps into the local businesses there and collaborates with them and tells them, sponsor our shirts, and we'll make sure we we let the guys know that your business is close to where we train, or it is in our ward, or it is in our municipality. We need to have those collaborations. We cannot do it alone. Whether it's the federation, they cannot do it alone. They need support. And we cannot always rely on government money. We also
Yeah.
need to have those private partnerships.
Yeah.
Go into someone's office and tell them, I need money to run this sport, but this is what I'm going to give you in return. So I was having a discussion after my phone call with Kagochi with one of my juniors, and he asked me, sasa vile mmepigwa hizo bao zote, will the government support you next time? You know, he asked, it was a stupid, genuine question. He asked me, 50, mmepigwa 50 goals. Sasa government itawasupport aje next time ukitaka kutravel?
Possession, my friend, ilikuwa tofauti. Game ya mwisho tulipeana 50 tulikuwa na 50%.
But unajua he's not someone who follows hockey, but he was like, kama mnapigwa hivyo, hata ukienda kuwa convince next time you want to attend an event, see what a delay, they won't give you funds on time, and we've seen that happen. Yeah, so Njugush, continue with the comments. Nitapeana closing remarks zangu.
And let's not forget, and this will close with it. I will leave it, I'll show it, but we'll close with it. Who does the back of the failure stop with in this situation? Because there's KHU and there was Olympics. What is it called? Olympics. NOC, yes, the National Organization Committee. Anyway, let me read a few comments here, even as we continue with the show. And this is Stephen Okoth, who says, do we really have coaches who watch games that are just according to the way games are being played? We get beaten by the same penalty corner every time. I think the coaches are not the same page because we have a video coach. We have a video coach. Yet we ain't doing adjustments. That is a question I don't want us to go there, but I think he agrees with some of the things that we talked about. This one is a big one. I'm not so sure if it will fit in here, but
utaisoma tu yote.
Taisoma to yote as we go on. They know it says 16-0, 15-0. Let's put our resources aside. A good gameplay has nothing to do with money. Number one, players should find time to train together, i.e. twice or thrice a month. Drafting them from different teams when international duty calls lowers the team spirit. Let me just pull it up here because on the side it looks team spirit and chemistry. Number two, he says nowadays hizi games hazichezwi kwa field pekee, my people. Hii game inachezwa kwa class where the manager displays tactics kwa ubao. The players follow up and they understand. Wakiingia field wanafuata drills walidiscuss, zika fail kurudia,
zikifail wanarudia hadi
inakubali. Sisi tulijaribu kuscoop, sijui kama ilitusaidia. Alafu anasema, let's hear the commentator say, this has been copied from the training ground and pasted here. I think it's something one of the commentators said in the game, in one of the games. And then he says, number three, coaches should know what they are doing. Coaching has nothing to do with nilicheza hii game nikiwa young. Juu nimezeeka nikipata maarifa
acha ni coach.
Wacha ni coach, yes.
Another interesting one here I saw in Jugush is this one here. Let me just try to find it. There you go. Great show. I believe these top international teams do not take any chances when preparing for tournaments. I want to believe that they also check how their opponents play and strategize before the tournaments. Do we do that? When going to war, you must know your opponents, even if they are stronger than you. You can strategize around that. You know, I've decided to read that comment is because what I was expecting from the national team is even if we lose, even if, and I was telling Kagochi this, even if we lost 7-0, 8-0, 6-0, I expected to see a real fight. I expected to see them give opponents a really tough time. A really tough times in terms of their physical attributes. We know that as Kenyans, as Africans, we have that physical ability to bully teams, but I did not see that. In fact, I was telling Kagochi yesterday in the fourth quarter against South Africa, our team was completely knackered. They couldn't pass the ball, they couldn't run with the ball, they couldn't stop the ball. They were completely tired. So, as Kagochi said, it's a situational play. So, if our teams were unable to match the fitness standards in that level, then we also need to look at how we prepare our clubs and our teams to play a high performance match. Yeah.
Naona kuna mtu anauliza ameitwa
huyu mtu anauliza, why Kagochi, why aren't you helping Kenyan teams with all your hockey knowledge? I've seen this question somewhere.
Over and over
Jigush,
again.
I know you've seen this question. Yeah,
So let me just be honest. Simon, mama yangu aliniambia ng'ombe kata ikunywa maji, hata ufunge mtungia gas kwa kichwa haitakunywa. So I think our perception of help is different. I don't need to be in the setup, but we just, as what you said, we just need to be speaking the same thing. Because I really get frustrated. No, the question I'll ask him, he is a former international also. What has he done for the sport? I am doing my bits. I have tried everything. Simon, there are so many coaches in my mentorship program. Yeah, there are coaches right now, even the national team. I try to help as much as I can, but I can only give help. If they do it or not.
I've been with you in a couple of training sessions,
yes.
I've seen you actually help the team.
Anytime I come out from, and this, it really annoys me. Yeah, anytime I come out from my work, there's something I love it when during COVID, and I'll quote Wiki here. When I came back, Wiki aliniambia, Kagochi, we know that anytime you land here, we put your name that you're going to come. And I try, and I say this, and this is what I say, this is what they're trying to do. Can we try? But I feel this is the truth. Our orientation of our coaches are struggling with, sorry for using that word, are struggling with getting other complementing information.
But Kagochi, is in this part of the problem? If you look at this comment, is it part of the problem we are stating? In terms of instead of looking at this is what I can do, I'm like, wewe ni nini unafanyia team? Is in this part of what our culture causes us to suffer? If I can come and ask like, wewe na hii knowledge yako yote, what are you doing to help? Is it part of the problem that we are discussing right now?
And this is what I'm saying. I'm saying it honestly. There are people who have already accepted me. Kagochi siwezi kuwa coach. They are great players. But what I can do, get me 2 players who will help with hockey sticks or with fairs. They are contributing. Okay?
I think I
chose to take coaching professionally.
And FYI, Lynn Mwangi is a product of your coaching. And right now she's in Birmingham playing as a left back.
Yes, but so for me is not what I can do. For me is that am I contributing to the sport which has given me much? And sorry to say this, I really get annoyed when people sit in the fence and yet they're not contributing. So I might not, Simon, you've contributed. Juguna is contributing by these shows. So this, okay, Simon, this is the whole truth. Yes, I help when I can, but I'm not the decision maker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one, Simon and Jugush, I don't want to say the teams I work with, international teams, and they listen. Even when I was when I'm at home here, some of the guys who are coaching there, they're like, Moses, please check this, see what we can do. Why? Because they don't see it as competition, they see it as complementing. Yeah, so I don't have to be the head coach. This is something I have realized. I don't have to be the head coach or to be the setter, but as long as I can give one point which can help. The last thing is that will they listen? I have done my bits. Saimo, you can have an employee, umwambie fanya kazi, kamua ng'ombe saa 12, akiamuka saa 3, si ameamua hivyo.
You know Kagochi and Njugush, as Barbara says here, Kagochi is our international coach. You see he ako na ring light.
Hey, Babs, bwana, Babs. Unachoma.
And then anasema Kagochi has helped me. Yeah, and also Kagochi has been my mentor. Even now he mentors me in coaching. And this is what is actually this it pisses me off hata nashindwa kuongea because we keep finding ways to blame someone else for something that is going wrong. We always seem to find Jugush, wewe light yako haimuliki the whole room. Mbona unafanya show na light yako? And you wewe mwenyewe you're not contributing towards helping him have the light imulike this. Yes, just nimesema hivyo word just light Jugush. But we seem to we are very good conjurers of blame. We know how to conjure blame.
Leo unaongea kizungu my friend.
Unajua sasa huku tuko summer, we are enjoying the heat, so yeah, so yeah, sijui uko Kenya kama bado baridi iko, but we are enjoying the heat over here. So we are conjurers of blame, of excuses, and we never seem to come up with solutions. I mean, even right now, let's just do a spot check. And the guys who are watching, scroll through the comment section. Tell me how many people have given solutions so far. Tell me right now how many people have given solutions. There are only a few. But we seem to find ways to conjure mistakes, to conjure blame somewhere. And then once you do that, you sit back and then say, it's not my problem to come up with solutions. And we'll continue suffering as long as we find mistakes. It's like you're sitting there waiting for someone to make a mistake so that you can blame them. That's what we are doing.
My grandfather alikuwa ananiambia, if a leopard wants to kill you, it leaves the tail on the road. Yeah? Why? Because you step on it.
Yeah.
So for me, I think
anasema now he's saying Moses Kagochi is the solution, lakini anakasirika hapa bure. As he said, you can only help. Wacha sasa mimi niseme ile kitu naambianga watu ndio tufunge hiyo story ya Amit. Anjugush nishaikuambia kitu. Maskini hawezi kataa mkate nusu akingojea apewe mkate mzima. Mwenye ana njaa hata kataa half a bread akisema sitaki hii nusu juu kuna mtu najua ananiletea mzima. I'm hoping someone will come with a full bread, so I don't want your half loaf. And that's what most of us do. We reject what we have. We reject what we have on our hands with the hope that someone will come with something bigger than what we have here.
Fimbo ya mbali haiui nyoka.
Yeah. So tunatupa hii and then tunaanza kusema we are waiting for something bigger than hii tuko nayo sahi. Yeah.
Roda Kuria anauliza, Kagochi, when is your next coaching workshop?
Hey. Currently I think Simon and the other coaches tulikubaliana the best thing to have instead of having a workshop is to have a mentorship program.
Yeah.
Maybe we share the experience we've had. There's a group. This is second year. We had the first group. Akina Richard Wandera, Kina Kolochelotti, Saimo, you were there. Some other guys. There's another group. So I feel a coach mentorship program is better because we learn as we go on. So coaching courses. I think KHU is going to organize some. FIH is organizing some. But I feel what our coaches need right now is more of a mentorship program, so that they do things bit by bit, because 1 or 2, 3 days, of course, is great. They are great, but you cannot accumulate every information in 3 or 4 days. So yeah. So Roda, yeah, we have a coach mentorship program. The other one will start maybe in the new year. Yeah. For me, it's all about giving back. Saimo,
Yeah.
the journey I've taken. It's been more than 10 years, starting from coaching level 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, to where I am right now, helping coaches, being a trainer, but also working in different environments. So not everybody has that opportunity. All we have is maybe to share what we have, and that's why I talk about best practices. This is what is happening here. This is what is happening here. So yeah, that's what I can do right now. But I know.
And I one thing also I remember in that mentorship program you taught us is we need to go out of our way and accumulate knowledge on our own.
Yes.
So you can only guide us, and then we go out of our way.
Yeah.
I was speaking to one of the guys at City Park, and he asked me why currently I'm not coaching or I haven't taken up a team. I told him I do coach, but I do coach behind the scenes. And that's also one of the reasons why I quit KU, is because I felt that I was not ready to take up a head coach role. I felt that I needed to grow up, technically, tactically, and I always do that. During my free time I sit down, there are a lot of YouTube videos about coaches analyzing a game, analyzing a set play, and I've always done that, and it has helped me. In fact, recently you've seen us in shows, we're also analyzing games. So part of being a coach is also going out of your way and acquiring that knowledge. I always enjoy guys who come, we sit together at City Park, and Kagochi, we do this with you, and we say that that player has not played well, that team is not structured well, and so on. And Peter anasema too much English, you are nowhere near there. Let's face it. Well, Peter, umejoin in tu saa hii na unaanza kuongea mbaya. We've discussed yote ikaisha, wewe umekuja late. Unafaa kwanza apologize for coming in late. So anyway, back to my point.
I want to give you a minute, Saimo.
Yeah, so nipeane hadi closing remarks zangu.
Maliza kila kitu.
Sawa. So if you're not ready to take the heat, or if you're not ready for the heat, step out of the kitchen. Plain and simple.
Okay.
So
if you're not ready to take the heat, step out of the kitchen.
Step out of the kitchen. Why? Yes, we understand that most of us have volunteered to support this sport. It will not be easy. It will never be easy. Be open for criticism. Do not take it personally. Let's say we did wrong, and say, okay, in your view, what could we have done better? And that's why you find even top individuals, including the best players in the world, they always sit down and listen. They say, okay, this is what I did wrong, coach, help me improve. Top businessmen, they always listen to even the cleaners, the janitors. They listen and they say, well, this guy is on the ground, they know what is happening, and you see them thriving. So the first part is, if you're not ready to take the hit, step out of the kitchen. Point number 2, huge egos will not help us until humility steps in. Humility in the sense that I am human, I shall make wrong calls, and people will complain about the wrong calls, but it is up to me to see how I can recover from those wrong calls and wrong decisions. We are human, we'll make mistakes. And the first bit of improvement, the first bit of towards the right path is accepting that, yes, things are not good. We need to change. My last and final point. I have seen here people coming here saying, you are the part of the problem, he's part of the problem. Stop it. Can you please stop it? We all have a problem. Mimi, Simon, Kagochi hapa, Njugush, everyone. As long as we're in this hockey, we have a problem. And the problem we have is none of us wants to sit down together as a team, as a single organism, and say we have a problem. How can we sort it out? We have the left hand strangling the neck. We have the eye not opening. We have the mouth talking ill about the leg. We don't want to work as a single organism. We want to find blame in someone else. We want to be found as the true angel. Holy Joe, we never make mistakes. So please stop it. Yes, you have a room to correct. I am not telling you not to correct. But what I don't want is you saying you are the problem and not pointing out the solutions. Can you tell me, Saimo, this is your problem, but this is how you can correct the problem. This is what you do wrong. This is what you can do to improve. And once we do that, Njugusha and Kagochi and everyone watching in this show, this sport will get out of the mess we are in.
Kagochi.
I can stand here and say that, Saimo, I am the one who started the first hockey company in 2014, Hockey Farm Sports. 1 year later, I brought in Alistair Fredericks, the late Alistair Fredericks, God rest his soul in peace, to have the first international coaching level 1 here. So my intention has always been, if we can do it, we try and help others come in. So my biggest setback is, sorry, a lot of people want free things. They don't want to invest on themselves, and then they expect to succeed. That's why we go to school. Saimo, if you want to go higher, you go do a master's. If you want to be a better IT, you do certification courses. So the same way with hockey, if you have to keep upgrading yourself to be a better coach. I'm not saying I'm the best coach or this guy is the best coach, but as long as you're making steps to improve, you become better with what you do. Secondly, and I think this is the best practice, what I've seen in Europe and other countries which are succeeding, they forgot their history. Yeah, I was a salesman, and my boss used to tell me, Moses, you're as good as your last sale. Can you use last month 40 million? Next month, you use a 10 million, unapatia warning letter. Why am I trying to say? We have to keep growing and growing and growing. And the other most important thing is that it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to fail. It's okay actually to be down. Yeah, somebody told me that he who has fallen down doesn't fear the ground. So, Saimo, what the worst can happen to us now?
Nothing.
So now
I think the worst that can happen to us ni tuseme hockey imeisha in Kenya.
Yes. So this is a good opportunity to accept that we need to change. We need everybody. Yeah, we need just like in the hockey field. You need the guy you need the ball boy. You need the guy who brings in water. You need the guy. We need everybody, but it cannot be number one competition. It has to be complementing each other. And lastly, we should have these uncomfortable discussions. When you have uncomfortable discussions, that's where solution comes in. All I know, and it's, Simon, let me just say it. Even what we are seeing in athletics right now, we are relying on our talents. Talent can always reach us a certain level. People are investing in scientific training. People are investing in matches. So, for example, again, when is the last time we took teams to club championships? Saimo, ask yourself. That's the only other avenue our players can play internationally. When is the last time? Try and look at it. The time Kenya was performing very well, we used to send 2 teams to club championship.
Yeah.
So now, when is the last time? Look at Ghana. What are they doing? Every tournament they send 2. This time they had 3 teams. Look at Egypt, 2 teams. Look at Nigeria, 2-2. So whatever is happening to them is not by accident. And then lastly, my grandfather told me if I'm flying from here to Mombasa and I miss my flight with 0.003, I'll find myself in Mozambique. Because as you go further,
the distance
becomes bigger.
if we
don't work on our basics, skills, no matter how the best tactics we have, we can never execute them. So again, we have just to accept that we really need to work hard. And one thing which is also most important, Simon, coaching now is changing to player management. We also need to handle players. We need to have empathy. You know. Oh yes, Jugush. Lastly, in my club in Delta Venlo in Netherlands, I was given a very hard role to have better selections. What did we do? We wrote the criteria of selection of the players. This is what we require. Make it open. Let the players know, let the coaches know, let the participants, which the parents, this is what you are looking for. And then now you select based on that. Everything is open. That one helps two things. The players know what they need to improve on. The players accept that the other people are better than them. And it's because it's transparent. Now, that begins the process, because now these players who are selected will know what they need to work on and to improve. The ones who are not selected, they have reasons to go and work hard. It's actually a motivator.
Yeah.
So again, I think you just be transparent with everything, and I think everybody will take it from there.
Gentlemen, it's 9 minutes to the top of the hour. We have been here for 1 hour and about 50 minutes. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kagochi. Thank you, Saimu. And I hope this discussion has been fruitful. I like what Tracy has said, and this is the last message I'm reading here. Good discussion. I have picked some lessons. I hope you too have picked some lessons, and we are able to remember, when you point a finger at someone, there are
Nani anasema let's clear the 9 minutes. This is a good show. So just read the comments. Mbaya.
Okay.
Ni ile design. Unaonanga ile design Jugush. Umemaliza mshahara, umebakisha 1,000 kwa account, unasema kaende tukula yote ishe.
Aya, wacha tumaliza in the next 8 minutes. Jala Simba says the only problem I have is the love for the game of hockey. Hiyo ni shida ako nayo, na Peter may apologize for coming late, but I know you're going to watch back the show, and I know you'll have some good comments after this. In fact, we need you here to discuss more of this. And Amit, Kagochi, I think you need to see Amit aside, na sasa sahi anataka akue mentored one-on-one. So let's look into that, and let me pull up. Hizi za juu kuna zingine si kusoma, so let me see the ratings. I don't think zilipita 1, zilikuwa 0.5 na 1 hapo nachezea huko.
The highest ilikuwa I think 2.
Niliona katu mahali. Felix Ochi, I don't know if I'd read this one. He said,
no.
Structures. Without that, we are going nowhere in 1,000 years. I believe that is
and structures here is not buildings. Structures is not buildings. I think we need to make it. It's not City Park Stadium. It's not a clubhouse. Structures is, as we've said, and I've given the example of, for example, we need to know a club, how it is set up. Does it have a president? Does it have a chairperson? Does it have a treasurer? Kama ni coaching, do we have a head coach and assistant coach? You know one thing, Jugush, as you are looking for the comments.
Yeah.
Kagochi, do you think that also the fact that coaches are the players are used to not having a consistent head coach or a coaching team also plays towards bad performances at the national level? Because Panapata at the club, they don't have a set coaching structure, and we've seen those clubs that have a set coaching structure in the league, they perform well.
So, in consistency lies the power. Having the same principles, the same trainings over and over and over again. Remember, muscle memory is about training the same thing over and over again. So if you keep changing the coaches, the culture might change because you don't have one static culture. So it's very, very important to have a coach. And that's why in Europe, they give you 2 years, 3 years, 4 years plan contracts, because they know one year you can't do anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
Barbara anasema integrity, ameongezea point hapo. Very, very, very key. Taniv Singh Mantaru
Tanvir.
says, Tanvir says, poor gameplay was embarrassing watching them at the stadium. And then say something that
he was at the stadium. Nice.
Yes, he was at the stadium. And he says you need foreign coaches to implement technical and fast paced. I tend to disagree with that because I believe we have solutions here which can help us do that. Do that show. But anyway, Mantaro, I think we need to look for you so that we can also talk about this. And lastly, is Duncan, who says compliance, transparency, and accountability. I think this is one song he sings each and every day whenever we have this kind of.
Lakini unajua Njugush, we had a very nice morning devotion today, and the guy who took charge of the devotion told us that for those guys who are religious, that is, he told us that the pastor or the preacher can give you a very good 2-hour sermon, well prepared, even with PowerPoint slides and videos, but if you don't take it at heart, if you don't accept it, then it was just a waste of time. The same with this discussion. We've had some of these discussions we've had now, we've had them over the year and even last year. But if we don't take those things at heart, if we don't start that path towards reconciliation and trying to find the right ways to do things, then it's just talk. As Peter has said, itakuwa too much English. Yeah.
That's true. Kagochi, unaambia usmile na na Amit, but I want us to answer this question in a minute as we go. I know the conversation will continue, and this is from Barbara, and she says, by the way, who are we accountable to? By we, she means coaches of the national team players.
Coaches of the national team?
Yes. And
players and KHU leadership.
Kagochi, 30 seconds. Nataka tumaliza at the top of the hour. Wewe wacha tuchague international practice, best practice.
Best practice is that remember, best practice that every they have what you call performance management systems. So there is a CEO and there's a board. So basically in Europe, the board, actually the players the board is very strict about because before you play, before you go, you give your plans, you give your targets, and they give you targets. So basically, you're the one who actually are responsible to the criteria they have put there. And that's why I said we have to put everything very open so that people, they know they're responsible based on those. So basically, that's what they do in Europe. The players also on the board and the team is there. Yeah, for the leadership, if we had a perfect working situation, the National Olympic Committee and Kenya Sports Council. But do they know actually what is really happening on the ground? So
let me tell you where I saw the problem is. And I understand Barbara's question, and I know I'm going to get a lot of trouble for saying this. The moment I saw that technical lineup, I was like, oh man, what are we doing?
That's a discussion for another day.
No,
I know where you want to go.
Si ameuliza swali.
Okay.
Wacha nijibu.
Okay.
You see, if I employ Kagochi,
are you employing or you're not paying him?
No,
let's be honest.
Okay, today, if I appoint, let me say if I appoint Kagochi, to be the coach, should I place myself under his team? So if I appoint Kagochi and I place myself under his staff, so will Kagochi be my supervisor, or am I going to be his supervisor? Am I going in as a watchdog? How is it? Who is going to sit above the appointed and say this is going wrong? If I'm part of Kagochi's team and something goes wrong, how are we going to answer those difficult questions? So in terms of that question by Barbara, it's a very valid question. Who are we accountable to? If Njugush, you are our CEO, mimi na Kagochi, you appoint Kagochi as the MD and I as the assistant MD, and you place yourself as my junior now as the assistant MD. So if you don't perform, I'll report to Kagochi that we huja perform. But who will Kagochi report to that wewe mwenyewe as the CEO huja perform? You see that point?
No, I say this. I say this. We complicate. Sisi wenyewe ujikaanga na mafuta yetu sisi wenyewe.
Yes, we do.
And unless we have a way of allowing the conversation, the open space, as Kagochi has said, let us have this conversation openly and allow, bila matusi, bila nini, just state facts. And I believe people can. We are civilized enough and mature enough to do such a thing. Then
tumalize show. Unajua sikukula sapa ya jana. Sikukula sapa ya jana juu nilikuwa na stress ya game. I need to eat that supper.
Thank you so much.
Gets angry. So tumalize show.
The conversation continues. Keep the conversation going on offline, and we are definitely going to do this. As I said, Kagochi, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you all the time when you're having this kind of discussions, and we truly appreciate. Follow us on our socials. See you next week. Hii ndio sababu hatungeweza fanya previews na reviews sababu hasira
ilikuwa ngumu. Ni ngumu. Utafanyaje? Ni ngumu.
Bye bye. Tuonane next week Wednesday. Tukiajua kama tuko number 9 ama number 10.